Hello! Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Fable Narrative, and let's get right into this. The Legend of Korra, Episode 3, Season 1, or Book 1. The Revelation. Korra infiltrates the Equalists movement and finds out more about its mysterious leader. When Bolin is kidnapped, Mako and Korra come to the rescue. Air. Well, the first and second episode, there's kind of this exhaustion of, I thought, how to collect my thoughts. For anybody who here is new, I have been proven correct, at least from the second episode. First episode has been like, okay, no, it's definitely its own thing. It's not its own universe. It's not in the same universe as The Last Airbender. Thus, I think, and I can prove, I might even create an official video, maybe like 4 of them, one for each season, as to why Legend of Korra is not in the same timeline as Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's one great example, and there's many, but there's one we'll point out. Toph creates the police force, which is completely diametric to her personality in the first series, but she's only 12, you might say. Yes, but why is it that she reverts back to that original live and let live, carefree, I'm going to go live my own life, nomad, airbender, air culture type of lifestyle of just wandering around and I'm going to live on my own? Why is it that she creates the police force? I think it would have been a lot better if her daughter, one of her daughters, Lin Bangfong, was the one that was the police chief that established the police force within Republic City. That would have been so much better, so much more believable. But they retconned Toph because she was a metal bender, therefore, let's make her do some things. But it contradicts some of her characters of what she would have done. Again, her daughter should have been the police chief. There's no freaking reason as to why Toph Beifong should have been the creator of, or the establisher of the police force and metal bending as the official metal bending police force. That should not have been there. It's its own universe. It's official fan fiction. That's how I see it. And from that, because we have now already established that it's official fan fiction, we don't have to worry about, well, this contradicts with this contradicts with that. We'll probably be pointing it out throughout the entire series, all 4 seasons, each and every episode. But I'm relieved and kind of disappointed that we've already established that it's its own universe. I thought it would take about 5 episodes at least before we can actually get to, well, it's firmly established that it's not the same universe. In the first episode, they established that. The second episode establishes it even more. If anything, the physics of this universe does not make any sense. Not saying The Last Airbender is flawless, but it's just better. So let's get right into this for all you Korra fans. Throw him in the brig! Water. Whoosh! Only the Avatar can master all 4 elements. And bring... Okay, see, that's the issue that I have here. Only the Avatar can bring balance to the world. Man, they could... I'm gonna probably skip this from now on, just every single time. I want to see the recap right before each episode. But I've had this issue from the last episode of them saying, well, only the Avatar can bend all 4 of the elements and bring balance to the world. This confirms the question that I had from the last episode, as only the Avatar is able to bring to balance all of the nations. But the question is, why do we need the Avatar? One of the things they could have addressed is to, like, we will bring balance to the world of what we want. Why are you balancing it? Are you trying to bring peace, or are you trying to make everyone equal? Like, there's a difference between balancing something where you're equalizing any and all things versus allowing people to live peacefully. Because what if a nation just grows stronger and has much more income than another? Are you trying to balance it out? Or will you allow or find a way to let them both live in peace, regardless of how much, again, income is a good example, or resources or something, or territory that one has over another. It's not balance, it's peace. Bring peace to the world. But I know balanced 4 seasons. It's yeah. Amon. I love Amon. Amon is such an underutilized villain that they only made for season 1. Again, it's one of those things where they've rushed the entire series, where if they just took their time, leaving it open-ended for them to be allowed season 2 and season 3, they go through so many villains that some of their stories are just rushed, cut out, not paid attention to, and some of that, because of those situations, some areas falls flat when you cut out key points as to, excuse me, Amon's father. Spoiler warning for anybody: it's Amon's father who taught him how to waterbend. Again, if you're watching this entire series because you're trying to get the real world, the live experience, I think you're doing it the correct way. And that's all I'm going to say. You're doing it the right way. I give you 2 thumbs way up. Spoiler warning. Amon's father who teaches him how to bloodbend without needing the moon. That was something I thought was phenomenal. I know that there's probably a lot of people out there, or there's probably a collective of people that just disagree or hate the fact that as Amon being an equalist going against benders, that's an issue. I think the only issue comes from him, not that he is a bender who's disguising himself and hoodwinked every single person who is an equalist, a non-bender going after actual other benders. Again, it's kind of, it felt so quick of them exposing that he was a bender, and then within the same episode, he's died. He's died. He's gone. They could have allowed him to go into underground. Again, the way that he died, I thought it was so gut-wrenching. My heart hurt. My heart, it felt like the exact same activity within John Wick 2, where John Wick was blackmailed, under obligation to go and kill the person who gave him the contract's sister. And in that room, she knew that because John Wick was there in the room, she was the contract, she had to die. So the thing that she did is she got into her pool, and she got into a little bath, cut her wrists, and decided to take her own life because she chose to take her life. Her life was not in the hands of other people. That just, it's one of those situations of like, oh my gosh, the power that you gain in that situation. That what happened with the Amon's brother, who was part of the council, that was an amazing way of taking control of the situation of like, we do not deserve to be in this world anymore. I'm not saying it's a good decision. I'm not saying that what he did was the correct decision. I'm just saying that situation made me feel for them, or at least feel. Well, they both felt sad, and they both, like, one was like it's like nihilistic in a way. I don't know how to express my feelings for that. When that scene happens, I wish that is the exact way that I wish they would have gone out, but they shouldn't have gone out in season 1. Maybe in season 3 that Amon is a constant villain, but only in season 3 when he finds a way to redeem himself, that he keeps trying and trying and trying, but keeps failing and failing and failing. And when he redeems himself, maybe his brother and like all the tragedies that they've caused, but have redeemed themselves. Maybe they've harmed too many people, and then they try to help other places and locations, but they keep getting kicked out and stuff. And eventually in season 3, they do a Zuko revelation and they help people, but then they still have that feeling of dread and pain and suffering, that they go off and they have that moment and be like, no, why'd you do that? No, not to the creators, not to the writers, but to the characters, like them just choosing something that you've been forgiven, you've done what you did, but but to realize that they are living in this like constant pain and just putting on a facade, putting on that happy smile, or putting on that expression of like, or putting on the literal mask and showing everybody in the world of, hey, this is how I want to present myself, but it's not who I am. And because of their degraded childhood and how that has and how what happened in their childhood if affected them and where they were going, and they just couldn't satisfy, they couldn't fulfill, they couldn't relieve that pain, but they kept always like the councilman tried to gain more power, never fulfilled him. It's just like he always tried to get that satisfaction of like living a life of luxury, living a life of happiness, but never fulfilled. Same with Amon, but being so upset and pissed off, and he was the bender and he hoodwinked everybody, and that just gave him some more weight. The ending of the two was phenomenal, but it just felt too rushed. The worst time slot? Dude, the morning is like the best time to train. I know that Bolin and Korra are kind of pissy here, but legends are created from those who wake up at like 4 or 3 in the morning and just work hard until about 8 to 9, and then they go off and do their own work in their own profession, their own work, and then come home and then deal with life. So it's one of those like, oh, the morning is evil. Bolin should be like, oh, we get the worst time. Bolin, again, should have like, well, don't worry about that. It's like, well, we're the first ones here. Okay, I would have loved to see that, preferably. I got nothing. I was gonna think of like, well, is he viewed as the villain? He's not really viewed as the villain of like, oh, he's so greedy. I don't think that. They actually made him appear apologetic for the situation that they are in, that you need 30,000 to be to get into the tournament itself. It's like he is running a business and has many expenses. And I love the scene. I bet you do. You got nothing.
I've never really needed money. I've always had people taking care of me.
Ooh, privileged. Called it. Oh, I so called it. Yeah, you were.
I wouldn't say you have. Ever since we lost our parents.
No. This is not the... It feels cheap. Okay, that's the only thing that... It feels like a very easy way of introducing, oh, we have lost our parents. Their parents not living there, or not being there, I think should be introduced in a different way. What way would be better? Okay, that's the question. Because if I don't have anything better, and I don't have anything to add to it, then all it is just aimless complaining, and I'm trying to think about what would be better. I don't know, it just kind of perturbs me personally. I think acceptable in this show. Yeah, we'll go with that. until I can think of something different. Come on, come all. Why does he have a mustache? You can do it. Finish it. Woo! Shady Shin has his own vehicle, and he has a pretty nice vehicle, so you know that he's of some type of wealth. Again, this thing right here, it looks like they're just able to do it. I know it's more of a rare situation that we're not able to see everyone able to do it, but it looks like it's just, if you need to go to the factory and you need some money, you need some work, you can just do it. That's one of the issues that I have. I would love to see them use the martial arts of like the style of maybe even taking their time to lightning bend, but the amount of time for them to lightning bend, how long do they have to just stand? Oh, I even have more of an issue. Holy crap, I have even more of an issue here. Oh, I never realized. Okay, wow. Oh, it's just like an epiphany. How long are they in this position? That's a major key. Because when it comes to Azula and Iroh and Fire Lord Ozai in the original Avatar The Last Airbender, they shoot out the lightning and it's like this gigantic burst. And they are the top tier, the top tier of top tier being able to do it. Who are these average Joes? I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to in a new series with The Legend of Korra. What should happen is that anybody can. That a great quote from a very silly show, but I love the quote. It's from Ratatouille. I think it's Pixar. Is that it? The critic at the very end of the movie, a spoiler warning, says that now I know what Gustav meant by anyone can cook. It's not that anyone can be a great chef, but a great chef can come from anywhere. So it doesn't matter about your race, creed, color, nationality, sex, etc., or more specifically, any of your immutable characteristics. Where your location is, where you have been born. That is something you cannot change, but you, wherever you may be, can become a great chef. But it doesn't mean that you will become one. But great chefs can come from anywhere. A great metal bender, a great electric lightning bender, a great combustion bender, a great magma lava bender can come from anywhere. That's great. That's phenomenal. But what you see right here is that there's no explanation as to this. It's just they come into work able to do it. It just seems as though because it was established that someone was able to bend, regardless of who, regardless of how much work or effort or power that was required to do it, how much skill and training and devotion and more importantly, attention that came to not blowing yourself up, hurting yourself or anybody else around you, but being able to do this, it looks like just come in, go to work, lightning bend. It's so baffling to me how long are they able to do this? Like, was he lightning bending for 8 hours? Was he lightning bending for 3 hours? If we were to take it as a regular traditional job of whatever it is that he was doing, the question would be, how long are you able to hold lightning coming out of your body? They do this as a nonchalant, dangling of the keys, last airbender, look, it's so pretty, isn't it? Dangle, 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 dangle. But wait a second. The 3 people that were known to lightning bend, had so much ability and capability about themselves of being able to do it for a short burst. Now, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, anyone can do it for any period of time, and it's not something that you have to do like a certain stance of creating the lightning. You just poof, it's now coming out of your fingers. That is lazy writing. That really is. That sucks.
Oh, I'm back. Picked up your favorite dumplings. Oh, Molin? You here, bro?
Oh, I just realized he actually did bring his... How much would you pay to live there? Like, it doesn't matter how much of a millionaire or billionaire you are in this town. It doesn't matter how rich you are. This is the place that I would love to live every single day of my life. You have the best view in the one place that you are passionate about. I would trade that for I would trade where I am for that any freaking day of the week. Oh, so honestly. Because they have even a higher point in which those little high-rises with those staircases going up, I think it's highly dangerous. I would be very scared to go up that high because you're looking over. I would just be terrified. But having that view is phenomenal. Oh my gosh, they're actually very privileged for having rent up in that one spot, looking over the entire city. And more importantly, they're the only ones that look like they have the entire beach side, dock side, waterfront property literally on the water, looking toward the entire city with oh my gosh, they're not down on their luck. They're literally living in the best place. It's like we're supposed to be feeling bad that they're broke. No, they have the best deal if they're going to be living here. That's the best thing ever. The guy who actually is renting that place out, giving them their equipment and everything, he's doing them a favor for however much money that they won, for like $30,000 or whatever, how much ever was in the that Mako had in his hand whenever the guy gave him the money. Wow, this place is amazing. Also, it has a pretty good view. Not even that. It's even coming up and hey, I bought something on the store and I was thinking of you, brother, on the way home. It's so brotherly love. I'm trying to think. It's so good. It's really good. Mako's character in this moment is really good.
Does he drive you crazy in a bad way? Or does he drive you crazy?
You know.
We can take Naga. Who's Naga?
My best friend. And a great tracker.
Okay, they cut way too quickly. They could have introduced Naga coming over and licking him like any dog would. They missed out on that opportunity. Okay. Ah, man,
Your best friend is a polar bear dog.
Okay. Excuse me. That question of, so your best friend is a polar bear dog. Yes. How long have you been on this polar bear dog? When did you first see the polar bear dog? And how long were you on the polar bear dog? I'm going to keep repeating that question a lot. How long were you on the polar bear dog before you asked that question of whether or not, like, oh, your best friend's a polar bear dog? You've been on the polar bear dog since Air Temple Island, walking over, taking a boat, or somehow getting over to the docks, into the docks and look what looks like to be in the middle of the city, and now you're asking that question. Oh my gosh. Again, they could have been like, hey, who's Naga? And then the gigantic polar bear dog comes over and starts licking Mako, tackling him to the floor, and he's like, oh my gosh, get this thing off of me. And then he's surprised, like, okay, your best friend's a polar bear dog. And it's like, yep, oh, isn't he the best? Oh, good Naga. And then they cut to this scene, them going into the place, and then them immediately start talking about, like, well, this is the last place that I knew where Bolin was, which means that they were already on their way, probably had some dialogue in between. Oh, one little quote out of place changes the entire theme of everything. It changes what were you doing in all that time.
Somehow that makes perfect sense.
'Cause you a bitch. Hi-yo. Oh, that's not fair.
A real pro.
Yeah, I see.
I know Korra's a little upset about what happened, but Mako lives in this world in the city of just people, you know, information don't come cheap, bro. I know Korra's a little upset about this, but I love the scene. I love everything about it. It's really good. Even Korra being upset about it. Good. She should be upset. It's not a good thing, but he's got to make a living somehow.
Bolin's about to get caught right
I think the biggest question as to how in the world did that kid find out? It's not a critique. I would just love to know. They could take some of their time and sort of like follow some of the children around. They may be benders or non-benders, but what would be interesting is to see their world even just a little bit. I'd love to see that world. The underground, trying to make their means. They're just hood rats, little rugrats. Not rugrats, but little hoodlums. No, it's so precious. Okay, I knew that scene was gonna happen, and it's not much of a like, I knew it was gonna happen. I've seen the scene repeatedly, over and over. It's just Mako it has lost a brother. We're gonna go and find a gang that has multiple gangs all surrounded. They might have multiple benders there, maybe far more superior and stronger because they actually go for the low blow and actually might even attack for the kill, not just attack to win, or not just attack to defeat, but to attack to kill. Because, hey, we don't need the Avatar who is related to authority figures, let's just say the police. We don't need people on our trail because of how much money or what's at stake of whatever we have here. With that setup alone, Korra kicking in the door, look at how amazing she is. She is so badass. And Tenzin, in the second episode, mentioned that air bending might be a big issue for her because it's the opposite of her personality. Is knocking over, kicking in a door, earth bending of a personality, the opposite of air, or is immediately doing something without repercussions or without even hesitation with an intensity? Is that more related to fire, water, air, or earth? Yes, the correct answer is fire. Intensity, do something without question, and more importantly, without consequence. Not without consequence, but without thinking it through. Just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. She's such a fire. She should be what would be amazing if she had the personality of Earth. You could even have a moment where her personality of taking her time and stuff can be a phenomenal moment of bonding with Toph's daughter, Lynn, being on the police force, and they can have a moment of connection of being like, of just sitting, waiting, patient, thinking this through, and that could actually be something that Korra excels at, is planning things out. That maybe some of her weaknesses is that just getting out there, while she may be able to go with the flow, or fire may come a little bit more difficult than water, a lot more difficult than water because it's naturally, her natural element is water. Excuse me. But having a personality more towards Earth, then her not being able to do air would make so much more sense. But none of these factors, independent from each other, make sense together. And more importantly, what if Bolin was there? Okay, now we have a hostage situation. Well, I'm just gonna fight you guys. Okay, turns around and then just like kills Bolin. I know that they would never do that in a kids cartoon, a kids show. More importantly, Nickelodeon, or hopefully they wouldn't. But Korra is so out of place. It's not a ho-ho, badass, strong female move. It's a, wow, you're a dipshit fucker. You have no idea in the situation you're getting yourself into. You have no idea of the type of danger you might have put Bolin in. You're in the wrong, Korra. Mako was the correct one. He knew where the location is. He knew the situation. But Korra got impatient. Yes, very much like Earth. That's the opposite of air. The Tenzin saying that's what her personality is. Impatience. Definitely Earth qualities. Fuck off, show. If anything, Mako knows the situation. Korra should be following him. If anything, it's not... Again, Naga is Korra's pet. She's the one that's literally going to be at the reins because that's just hers. Okay? Now, when it comes to a situation he knows that he knows more than Korra, he should be the one that's in control, but Korra kicking in the door, look at how awesome I was. You could not pull off that move if there was anybody here. If there was one person, you could just immediately knock them out. But what if there was an entire room filled with people? You could never have pulled that off. But because there was nobody here, she was to make it look like it'd be pulled off. Therefore, she is amazing. No, she's not amazing. She's a freaking bitch. Oh, okay, I forgot about this scene. They were hoodwinked, they were lied to get benders to the show so Amon can take their bending away. Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. I forgot about that. And being it here, which is actually a great question as to why there are only 4 benders in the carriage, or in the paddy wagon, why are there not more? If there's only 4 at this, specifically, a gang hangout, why are there only 4? There should be probably like 10 or 20. Okay? Maybe there's a little bit of a scuffle, and then some of them, and all of them are defeated on the ground already, rather than just being empty. But 4 of them in a hangout of a gang leader, the triple triad, like, I'm assuming that there's more members than just 3. Joker gas. That would be awesome. They fall over laughing. Oh, the crossover would be epic. Okay, so what type of gas was that? Was that tear gas? Was that nauseous gas? Was that just smoke screen? If it was smoke screen, why was it that color? But it was more of like a distraction. But then they started coughing. Cough, cough, cough. You kind of need to choose one. It's not just like, oh, hey, flashbang. Again, if you're going to be watching this without pause, it's in the back of the brain, you're like, oh, wow, something happened that distracted them. But wait a second, what was the thing that they threw? Gas that disturbs the lung, gas that disturbs the nose or eyes, or gas that disturbs the sight. Which one was it? Well, it was you can't point it out. Because if it was like pepper or something, they'd be coughing and they'd be maybe trying to rub their eyes or wipe something off or need water or something. But no, that wasn't it. It was just an inconvenience. Oh my gosh, this show is horrible. Oh. Again, just watching it without question, enjoyable. But pointing it out, I am so baffled by, well, wait a second, what was that? We don't know. It's just distraction. That's all we know. Again, animation is amazing. It really is. I love it. Where is everybody? Like, if they did this on, like is everything on this side of the street just abandoned? That's a whole... Why is this entire place wide open? Again, I personally don't mind it. One thing that they could have done is having the base near the city, but in one of those, like, the urban or a part that would be a little bit further out, the outskirts of the city. And then the Equalists are able to go there, and then we have a fight in a park. And the park maybe has some kids or something, and they all get scattered. They're scattered, but not hurt or anything. Or maybe some people are out, but maybe if there's no place out, maybe some park that's in the outskirts of the city that most people don't go to, because you can look around and see, like, oh, there's just a really bad part of the neighborhood. This is why the triple threat triad live in this part of the neighborhood. Like, in one little fix that actually would make it feel more realistic rather than a spectacle to make it look amazing, but actually be amazing. Again, animation is amazing! Again, look at that cinematography. Why were they doing those twists? I know it was kind of threatening, but they could have, like, cut... It's an issue that I had in The Witcher. The Witcher, while The Witcher was fighting one of the princess that turned into this monster ghoul-looking creature, there were so many cutscenes trying to reach for I don't remember which episode, but whatever episode it was at the end of the episode, when there was a transformation of Yennefer into her beautiful form, where, in that episode, The Witcher, Geralt, was reaching for a sword, while the creature was running towards him. There were like 4 or 5 cutscenes going like, look at the sword, look at Geralt, look at the sword, look at Geralt, look at the sword, look at Geralt, and then he got like blocked or something from taking the sword and he couldn't do anything with it. There's so many cutscenes, like, why did it last that long? If anything, it should be like just one long cutscene of them like twisting it and then cutting to them and then them being so frightful and then cutting to them again being scared that, oh, there's this Naga's coming. Like, it looked a little bit too long for them to be like, oh, we're fearful, we're crazy, why are we twisting these things too long? I cut it back a little bit. Just 1 second was a little bit too much. Because, as for an example, if you are during a standoff and you're just pointing a gun at somebody and another person's pointing the gun right at you, it's like a Mexican standoff where everybody's pointing guns at each other, that's when taking your time with the situation is important. But when you're in a little, I don't know, it's just 1 second was a little bit too much for me. One more scene didn't add anything and actually took away from it. I think it was just, if they took away one of those little clips of going back to those people, like, keep twisting it, the Equalists twisting their little, whatever those things were, those weren't even the things that they were spinning around weren't even, like, lethal items. I think those were the things that tied Naga's feet and arms together. So it's not a threatening... It is a threatening thing, but it's not a lethal thing. It's one of those things like, oh, you're coming after me. But why were they twisting it so much? Okay, so I guess it's a smoke screen. Okay, I guess, again, being a smoke screen, that's all it is. How do you know that? I don't mind that you know that. I think of all people, you knowing the underground would know that. I'm just curious, why would you know that? Melancholy music. I mean, that's a good choice of words to describe it, but... Oh, then actually what's a great detail is having Naga being dehydrated. That's a really good detail that they could have just not had. Even Naga's tired. Wait, does he have, like, magnetic shoes or something? It doesn't look like being at that steep of a level can actually keep you on Naga's head. That was just a... That was weird. If not, I want one of those Paku creatures. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Stop it. Well, that is true. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, they better point out the fact that he knew that there was something on the back of the map that was more important rather than just grabbing a few just in case that they lost that last one. Why did you grab a few? Again, an off-the-cuff remark would really help. Rather than just like, oh, I felt like doing it. Okay. Okay, no, I do have an issue here. So did he grab it knowing that there were different images on the back of the flyer? Well, I mean, was it a hunch? Let's watch it again. I don't get why he would have grabbed them. Wait, he had a piece of... He had the piece of paper in his hand, and then now he doesn't have the piece of paper, and he doesn't have the flyer in his hand. Let's go... Okay, let's watch that again. All the flyers go up in the air.
Witness the revelation.
And now there's no piece of paper. There's no flyer in his hand. Again, there's no flyer in his hand. Did he just drop it? Which I don't mind if he does drop it, but it's just, it's there, and then it's not. And then grabs a few. Why? Did he know that there were different images, which we can blatantly see it, and I don't know if that was a concern of his. Maybe he noticed that there were multiple during the situation, which we're able to break it down a bit more. But, again, perception skill level 100, I guess. It's, oh, level 20. Oh, whatever numbers. So he's coming to the conclusion he's coming to the conclusion that there are images on the back of the flyers, not having known that there were images on the back of the flyers. So the question was, why did he pick up so many? If the question was that if he was just curious about it, all he had to do was mention, like, there was something fishy about all those flyers back there, that the backs didn't all match. Why was that? And then just allowing that question to be unfurled. But here, he's coming to he doesn't even have the conclusion yet, or he doesn't even have the question in his mind as to why he picked up so many flyers. You only needed like one or two, but he picked up, like, grab a bunch. Why? You need one. Like, where's the one that was in your hand? All you had to do was just run. You picked it up, I think, because the plot required you to pick it up so you could be somewhere safe. That's an issue. That's not good.
This is the place.
To be fair, this looks exactly like the place that they were at last night because of how it looks. Like, this looked like the exact same part of the city, sorta, at night, but it was more of an industrial area. Were they they weren't in an industrial area, but they were probably near the industrial area. I don't know. Inconspicuous. Oh my god! Oh my god! In the first episode, you gave Boldlin shit for doing this to you, but it is A-okay when you do it. Again, nobody else is around, and this is a perfect natural reaction. You're like, well, what are you doing? But when there was somebody in front of you during the time that you were, quote-unquote, sneaking into the pro-bending arena, when Bolin came to your rescue, and so you wouldn't be kicked out of the arena that you wanted to be at so bad, you gave Bolin a bit of a hard time of like, oh, no, yeah, we're not together. Well, no, we're not that. No. And in the moment, in that situation, oh, ha, they're not she's a strong woman. No! This is a contradiction. It's like, oh, it worked for Bolin, like when I was in 2 episodes ago, when Bolin was helping me. It would be great for this situation if Bolin did the exact same thing for her, even holding her arm and hand, and it's like, oh, no, come on, sweetie, we gotta do something. But she was so defiant over that now she has the idea, oh my gosh, Korra, what a great idea. No, this would have been even better if it was Bolin's idea and Korra was able to adapt to the situation, learning what she learned from the past. She's never really had a situation like that before, and it would have been great if it's like, well, what are you doing? And it's like, just go with it. Oh, yeah, hey, Bolin, my dear love, let's go off together into the stands and make out or whatever. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Oh, no. I love the voice actor. I don't know who the voice actor is, but he's been in a lot of cartoons. He's done a lot of voice acting. Thank you, Marxist brother. Thank you, Mark. I think everybody's named either Mark or Marcy because they're all Marxists. Oh, that would be very suiting of a name. Okay, you gotta give them props for creating this many diverse characters in a room that has no story or background to them. You can kind of, like, of having this many people gather together. Good job. Your Jesus Christ is a mon! His name backward is Noma. Numa? That's weird. A little fear in her eyes. That's good detail.
One day,
Okay. So the entire history of the Fire Nation having a 100 multi-generational length of time war, it's gone. You had to have a random firebender. It couldn't have been because of the 100-year war. It's literally their forgetting of everything of Avatar: The Last Airbender, only bringing in when not much time has passed for the World War II was a 4-year war. They were at a 100-year war, which is at what factor? What factor specifically? I have to use a calculator, cause I'm a dum-dum. Okay, so if we use 100 divided by 4, it's, oh my gosh, I'm so fucking dense in the head. Okay, it's 25. 25 times 4. I was so thinking of something else. Like, oh no, 4 has to go into, because I was dividing it to like up to 80 and then another extra 20. Well, how can that work? No, there has to be some type of decimal somewhere. Okay, so what you're telling me is a random firebender is the issue in this entire story arc that the 100-year war, lasting 25 times the amount of time it was for World War II, even 10 times, if not 20 times. No, not 20 times. Let's go even 5 times. Excuse me. Between 5 to 10 times longer than the war with the U.S. in Afghanistan or in the Middle East, of having a quote-unquote war. Again, whatever, politics and stuff. But it's that amount of time. Don't you think there's some scar or some issues that may have happened with a 100-year war? Your grandfather and mother may have been killed, kidnapped, burned, destroyed, property destroyed, whatever. Your parents, your great-grandparents to your parents to you. Like in you growing up with your children, and your children you were the child when the war was pretty much over, what has been ended. That what the issue is that your parents having a story that everybody can relate to is just a random firebender. That not maybe of like, well, what happened with the scourge of the earth are all these firebenders who have taken control for the last 100 years, and they have. This is an issue. This is something that Avatar Aang. This story should be with Avatar Aang. Saying, like, you know what, with all these people that have, all these benders that have actually caused so much ill, that the only time that it was actually ended is when I don't know, like, only a few firebenders who could have saved everybody, again, through their point of view, only a few firebenders, only a few benders actually helped us, with maybe 1 or 2 actual non-benders. That no non-bender could help or save anybody during Sozin's Comet. That's something that Amon should have actually grown from Avatar Aang's story. This should not be in Legend of Korra if they don't even mention anything about the 100-year war that came before. Is he not affected? Like, it's one of those. I know that his story is in complete bullcrap, but the story, it's like something that's very relatable to every and all people. Any and all people should have been affected by the 100-year war. But I don't know what to do with this. It's its own universe. It's its own universe. That's all I can think. That's all I can say about it.
Father confronted this man.
There is no war that has ever happened. Yeah, no. Please mention it.
It has been the cause of every war in every era. But that.
Every war in every era. Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh. You're not going to mention that the entire world has been drastically changed and histories have been wiped out because of a 100-year war? Can you please mention that? You're saying every war. Yeah, but it's so much of it. I think I've been bothered by it because the story of just a random firebender rather than a firebender who was part of the military who took my family without cause. That the destruction of war, and then you lead up to, with every war, there's always firebenders. But in of itself, no. This part I disagree with. If by introducing that there is, because there is war, there are wars with firebenders. I'm just kind of disturbed that they introduced the entire dialogue, the entire story or background of Amon, or what he's telling himself, the autobiography, the way that they did. First start with, we've been scarred for the last 100 years, or 20 years ago, there was a war. There was a treaty of ignoring of all the ills and harms of the last 100-year war. And yet people are ignoring all the ills and harms that have come from that situation, that all those people in their ivory towers are dancing and prancing over the graves of everyone who came before them, ignoring any and all issues that we have to deal with, average people. I think that's a better story that people can get behind. The average Joe can at least understand that in this world. It's like, yeah, I don't have enough money. The issue is that because during the war, all my money had to go to the government or something. I don't know, just as an example. But it's more relatable, I think. Wait. I want to see. Was he holding a microphone? Oh, okay, there was a stand for the microphone. That makes much more sense. Okay, never mind. Okay, coming up with all these technological advancements, I just don't get how advanced they got from where they were only a few decades ago. Not even having light bulbs, but being able to have stages that look like this with the technology of wiring, lighting, and performance. I don't get it, unless they had it and I just didn't get it in the past. No, it's just, I think the technology just advanced way too quickly. The power to take person's bending away. This reminds me so great of The Incredibles. The Syndromes, the main villain, his quote he said while he was leaving from Mr. Incredible's detention zone or prison. He said, once everybody's super, no one will be. Once everybody's powerful, then nobody will be unpowerful. Everybody will be equal. It's sort of the same way, but in this world, this makes incredible sense. It really does. Good job on the character of Amon. That's really good. I love that. Permanently. Again, one great thing is when you're going to have... if you're going to introduce a villain, have the villain be... Again, Legend of Korra showed up. Yes, Korra is a villain. If you're going to introduce a villain, show a villain everybody can get on board hating, and then they look like more reasonable characters or reasonable people doing what they're doing. It's a bad activity when they start going from those bad villains and start peering off to Bolin. Bolin is not part of the triple threat triad, but he was at the wrong place at the wrong time and was associated to being a triple threat triad. It's a phenomenal position. This entire scene is great. Yeah, I'd be shitting my pants. I'd be worse than Bolin. If I was up there, I'd probably be pissing my pants. Something they're gonna be. I'm in a public stage with everybody hating me because of of an immutable characteristic that I was born with, and they want to remove it. And everybody here is applauding that. I'm scared. It's like somebody wanted it, like, yay, we're gonna chop off your penis. Like, whoa, I'd be sweating. I'd be shitting bricks. I'd be sweating balls, like, because mine would be falling off in just a moment. So might as well enjoy it or feel it for the last time. We can't fight all of them. Again, is that a type of earth-bending personality or a fire-bending personality? Even Mako is more reserved, kind of like, let's think it through, let's take our time, be patient. We gotta be more thoughtful about this. We gotta be a bit more realistic. Korra is a fire-bending personality. She is definitely not Tenzin. She's definitely not an earth personality, which would be the polar opposite of air, which is the Tenzin's just a horrible teacher. He just does not know what's going on with her life. He's oblivious to stuff. Well, wait, she's pissed off that he's taking the reins of the situation of rescuing his brother? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Off of the game plan, team captain.
She is having a fucking attitude calling him team captain. Are you serious, Korra? You literally are giving the guy who is who is the only one in this circumstance that's going to be losing something. His brother. You could rush in, lose nobody except for your life, which you give no shits about, which you will wind up winning at the very end, or at least being alive because the plot needs you to be alive. Oh my gosh. You're giving this guy attitude, okay, team captain. What the fuck is your problem, Korra? That's not your brother up there. That is Mako's brother. Mako is a little bit concerned for his brother to make certain that he will not be hurt, more importantly, killed. So let's take our time. He's the last on the list. Let's think about this. For we have at least 30 seconds to come up with a plan rather than just rushing in there. Wow, Korra! Fuck off! My gosh! Again, this is how you create a phenomenal villain. It's the same way with I keep mentioning it, Thanos. I love Thanos. Is one of my favorite villains of all time. I would say one of my favorite villains. I would say anti-heroes. I have a lot of anti-heroes. One of my top tier favorite anti-heroes would be Rorschach from Watchmen. I think that the movie was a phenomenal rendition of creating a comic book story, and I think will stay true and more importantly was faithful, that kept all the characters intact, but more importantly, Rorschach stood out among the blue god. He was more important than any other character. He was principled. He was morally good, if not chaotic, when he did try to do good things. There was so much about him I loved. He was so fucked up and fucked over because of his entire life. It was not his fault. He tried to do the right thing and was unquestionably principled and fighting the good fight until the bitter end. And then the Watchmen series, the new one that came out on HBO, made it about Rorschachs are all now racist white supremacists. Oh my gosh, and they fucked over Dr. Manhattan, bringing him back to Earth, and realizing that the main character, and they didn't make it about race, but oh my gosh, goodness gracious, I'm gonna turn myself into a black person. It's like, well, why? Well, you're not accustomed to a white person in front of you. Like, let me be appearing like a black person. Then I'm gonna give you all my powers. That I didn't watch it past the first episode. I thought the first episode of the Watchmen HBO series was. I'm gonna probably have a lot of backlash from people who hate it, and a lot of backlash from people who love it. I hate the fact that they made it racially themed. The best thing that they could have done is just. Well, here's an example. Just following the consequences of the situation. Instead of retconning some of the things that happened in the past, what about you focus on the fact that whoever the main villain was, I forgot whoever the intelligent guy was, have him go into the shadows, and then a bunch of people are trying to go and find him, and or like uncovering the truth. And you can have this entire story of a lead black hero. No fucking issue there. But having her following the consequences of the situation rather than being, oh, we're gonna make this an entirely about race. What the fuck, HBO? Fuck you. Fuck your entire organization because you think that that's a good thing to profit off of. Wow. Wow. They had a lot of phenomenal moments of character development, personality in most of the characters. I loved it. Every moment that they mentioned something about race or racism was fucking retarded. The character development in the first episode was great, phenomenal. I'll die on that hill, but no, I'll fight you. I'll fight you on the hill. You think that it's a phenomenally good thing to have a racial motive in a show that was literally about just this alternate world and the consequences of the reality in which they were living in, rather than trying to make it related to our world. It's fucking retarded. But in this, what makes Amon a phenomenal villain, just like Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that more in Infinity War, I think it was Infinity War, where the beginning of the film, they have Thanos having won and just slaughtered the majority of the Asgardians. And he's standing over their dead bodies, and Hulk surprises Thanos and starts beating him up. And then they clip over to one of the villain's henchmen, and one of them's about to rush in, but then the one who has magic powers or whatever, stops him and says, let Thanos deal with it. He hasn't had fun in a while. And then Thanos is able to stand toe-to-toe and even beat Hulk to a pulp. He's able to stand with him, holding the gauntlet, able to do all these things. He's smart, intelligent, and physically able. He is a phenomenal villain, but more importantly, you get to see his compassion. You get to see that he actually cares. He actually has weight. He feels bad when he takes a life, but he morally believes that he's in the right, though. He feels like he is being the one that's moral. Because there's so much ill in this world that all we have to do is just, we need to cull half the population so the population can thrive. Fucking wrong on that aspect. There's many aspects that's correct on that, but at the same time, it is incredibly regressive and poisonous and vile to any and all thoughts. All you have to do is advance the technology, and people can extend beyond the scope of population cap that they have. All you have to do, the reason that people don't live in the deserts is because it's inhabitable. But if we had the technology to bring water to us, to make it habitable, boom, you could have another million population city right there in the middle of the desert. And then another 5 or 6 locations throughout the desert. Boom, you've increased another 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 10 million population. All you have to do is increase the technology, which is, again, one thing that I harp on this thing, is that when you increase the technology at such a rapid rate, the thing that should happen is that the Equalists are in the wrong era. They should have been in the last season, the last series, where technology hasn't expanded as much. When technology expands, it equalizes people. It doesn't make everyone equal, but it equalizes the playing field. You don't need to go to the mainstream media to know news. All you have to do is go to somebody with whom you trust, who has a good source or is in the know about it. Boom. I don't ever go to the mainstream media. Every once in a while, they'll go up into my YouTube recommendation. I don't really care. If I like the content, I'll probably give it. I'll go to the video, look at the title, and be like, I like that, give it a like, and I'm out. But I don't really care about listening to them. What I care about are listening to the people with whom I trust on the topic, not just the topic itself. It's like your local Channel 5 news that people used to have. The local news where you actually knew who the people were doing the weather, doing the news report, doing the sport reports. You don't get that anymore, and it's kind of a fucking shame. Like, we need to have that. In my local area, if there's an issue, I can move. It's like the accessibility of people being able to move and me needing to fight for my place? No. If there's a policy or if there's an issue within my local area that I don't like, I can get out of here. I don't have any stake in the city. I don't have any stake in this town. It's like, it's an unfortunate thing. People used to fight for where they lived, and that's a good thing, or at least from my experience. Now, I probably just spoke to a bunch of people, if not everybody, that was the complete opposite of that. I haven't had the need to do that. I haven't experienced people in my local area fight for something. I haven't had people with whom I know have done that. I wish that I had. And it's not any issue with, it's not family. It's everybody else with whom I've come into contact with. There's no argument of me going out there and fighting and not just protesting, but literally just, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out there and make something or do something. I don't know. It's just, oh man, I went down an incredible rabbit hole there. I don't know. It was probably like 20 minutes. Oh man, that's kind of funny. Oh, so a chance to fight, keep his bending. But for getting back to Amon, is that what makes a great villain is, like Thanos, being like, it's not just that he's physically capable, but literally being able to have a fight with the Hulk rather than just snapping him out of existence or snapping him to take the advantage, but literally using without the gauntlet. I'm just going to start beating you up because I possibly can. If you want to have this fight, I'll do it with my own fists. I'm not going to just be a bitch and you out of existence or get you out of the fight. I'm going to do this one-on-one, mano-y-mano. So again, when having like this with Amon doing this with his quote-unquote victim, they're allowing him to have the fight even though he's way outclassed. Is that you have it, here's a gun, you can try to shoot me. But within the 22 feet that we are in, I'm going to get to you before you draw the weapon and shoot me. It's one of those moments of like, you give the other person the opportunity, but it's more of like a gazelle being hunted by a bulldozer. Not a bulldozer, a bazooka. Both start with B. They're a bazooka that shoots bulldozers. That would be insane. Again, such a reliance of... what is unequal about this? You being able to be much stronger than him, or him being much stronger than you? I would say if somebody was not able to dodge that ability, they would be dead. Those fire attacks and even this lightning. And again, lightning. Oh my gosh, it's so powerful. Such a powerful attack. If anything, it's been diminished because anybody can do it. It's not as impressive if only he was able to do lightning bending. If anything, if they didn't have the lightning benders who were the lightning benders who were at the factory, including Mako, just being able to do it for hours on end, it seems, because I'm assuming that it's a regular, traditional 8 to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hour a day work schedule where you were just there. Bzzz, bzzz, and you just kept doing that. Like, anybody can do this power. It's like, oh my gosh, it's lightning. Yes, but would have been amazing if he was the one able to do it. Being the leader of the triple threat triads, that would have been a great reveal of the first time that we get to see somebody having lightning. Or, at least in the factory, have them go through a little bit more conditioning, taking your time to explore the fact that any Joe can use it, lightning bending, but there is not just a tradition, but there's a prep. You need to be physically fit. You need to have this physical mentality, or being able to bend such a large, potent energy. Like, again, it's very impressive of the amount of electricity he's able to bend, but again, it looks like you can just bend it. Like, there's no real requirement for you to. It seems as though any firebender has the capability of doing it. That it was literally just the top tier of people. And if we really want to get down to it, I truly believe that, again, until something, if I need to watch the original Avatar The Last Airbender series all over again to make certain of one simple fact. Bending is genetics. You get your bending through the genetic process. From wherever you were birthed from, that's where you get your bending from. Because the only thing of an example I can bring up in this world, there's two, not just the only, but there's two. The Red Lotus is a secondary one, and primary one would be Amon himself. Bolin, in I think the third or second season, I don't remember which one, wherever the Red Lotus came out and he was fighting the lava or magma, let's just go with lava. Excuse me, I'm sorry. He was fighting the lava bender. Bolin was, and then during that fight was able to lava bend out of a requirement to at least try. And it's like, I think that's a little bit of a like, there's no real critique that I can ever have about it, because it's a phenomenal way of introducing it. Out of sheer necessity, you come to the conclusion of, like, or you take the action to try. And then you realize that there's something that you can actually do. Fantastic! I applaud that 100%. But the only reason that he would probably be able to do that is because his father and mother, one of them had to have been a firebender, one of them had to have been a earthbender, because that's the only way that I can see as to either firebender Mako or earthbender Bolin can even be different bending abilities while still being a family. Because how did one of them become one or the other? So the question is, why do all of these other Joes, which I'm okay, I would have actually preferred it being a technique that anyone can particularly learn, but in this world, that doesn't exist. In this world, that doesn't work. It's like quirks in My Hero Academia. You are born with a quirk. There are two specifically more powerful people. One that can pass on their quirk and keep cultivating the quirk to the next generation, next, which is one for all. Well, all for one is the one that can actually take abilities and then give it. Yes, I can take your abilities and I can give it to another person, which means I can take any powers that I want and then give any and all powers that I find secondary, and I can give to a villain of mine, or a little henchman, and they can go out and do little havocs, and whenever they're done, I can just take it back from them. Because no one else can take it back from them, and even if they're dead, I could probably bring them alive just for enough time to take their quirk. Again, that's very evil, but very realistic within that world, being able to do that, the cause and effect within the universe. When you have lightning bending being as, oh, anyone can do it, you take you take the entire universe and shit on it. Because that's not the universe you're trying to portray to be a part of. This is not Legend of Korra. Each and every episode, the first 3 episodes, I have found a specific reason as to why this is not based off of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but is officially fan art. Is just official fan art. Wow. That is amazing of a revelation, and I know I wouldn't say it's ironic, but it's incredibly illuminating to notice that the revelation of what I came up with and the title of the show on episode 3 is called The Revelation. How outstanding that is. Okay, but one more mention and then we'll get right back to this. Of the 2 examples the 2 examples I would give about bending being genetic. The first one, or the secondary example, would be of how Bolin is able to lava bend because lava, fire, and earth makes lava bending. That's the natural progression of that. But it seems as though anyone, the average Joe, can bend lightning, when only the royal family in the Fire Nation could do it. It's one or the other. It doesn't make any sense for it to have it to be both. It's only, oh, look at how pristine this royal family is. It's like, okay, is it it's either genetics that's able to be passed on, and Zuko just didn't have the trait to be able to bend it? Like, I'm okay with that. Maybe it skips a generation where maybe Zuko's children are able to lightning bend. But at the same time, I am also okay with it being that anybody can naturally do it. But the thing is that anyone can just do it. I can do it for 8 hours. I have to take little moments of breaks, but, oh, zap, zap, zap for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, maybe even 3 to 4 hours. But it doesn't seem like it takes much skill, ability, devotion, time, energy, or effort to even do it, which shits on it. Again, I would prefer it to be the average Joe can do it, but it doesn't mean that every average Joe or just any average Joe can do it. It's that an average Joe can do it, but they have to go through the trials and tribulations, the effort, and the training to be able to do such a very potent, powerful bending mech technique. But they don't. We don't get to be shown that. That is such a big issue. I mean, great detail. Oh, you got to see Amon. Oh, I want to see that one more time. Let's see that one more time. Look at his eyes. Amon's face is in his eyes. That is such a great detail. Yeah, from lightning and then going down to fire. Again, because he's able... I don't know. It's just... I like the transition from lightning to fire. And it's like that... The waning of power you get to see. That's a great detail. Wait, why are they doing him next? Why not the... Why wouldn't they just do it in order? Pick up, like, one person after the other? That's a big question I'd have. Or is it a fear technique of just randomly choosing one because you don't know who's going to be chosen next, which is even more fearful for the participant who will be having their bending be taken away? That'd be kind of a cool thing with the Equalists, of which order are we going to be taking the bending away. And for a spoiler warning for anybody out there who hasn't seen the show, he's actually a waterbender who is able to, again, a waterbender who's able to just block the chi. I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably will take this out of the editing process, during the editing process. I'm not certain. It's one of those situations of like, that bothers, it doesn't bother me that he's able to do it. But the implication of him being able to block cheese using water bending and allowing people who have been able to bend water, bend in a certain element, and then blocking those cheese, doesn't that mean people who cannot bend have their chi blocked? That, again, that implication, just like having Hordor, whatever her purple hair name is in The Last Jedi, getting in the ship and then thrusting, going into hyperspace, and then blowing up all the ships in her wake. Then again, the tactic of that, I know that they just say it's a 1 in a million shot in the Rise of Skywalker. That's not a 1 in a million shot. Okay, it's either 1 in a million, or she was again, something that was introduced to me is that she's a freaking So 999,999 out of a 1,000,000% chance of her just escaping with the entire ship. You don't bank an entire revolution off of those fucking odds. You go off the most extreme example of a 50-50 shot. It's like 50% chance we might die, 50% chance we're gonna live, but if we live, there's still consequences, or maybe even 90% chance, or it's a 100% suicide mission. But if you're trying to literally sacrifice yourself on an empty ship with the Last Jedi, and you're gonna blow again a 1 out of a million percent, a 1 out of a 1,000,000% chance that it will actually succeed, that means that, okay, let's do those odds of, let's do something that has a 1/1,000,000th of a percent chance to actually make it. Okay. Not of sacrificing yourself, which is the point of doing it. Which means that you have to do this here's a great I think another example that should help, or at least explain it for myself at least, is that you would have to, if Hordor, which I'm going to call her that, I don't know what her actual name is, she's probably like Whore, I'm going to call her Whore, purple hair whore lady, got into her space, used the entire ship that had all the rebels, and was going to launch it towards the enemy, and if it missed once, that means that she would have to go to hyperspace, crisscrossing between those enemies 1,000,000 times to possibly get it once. The fact that it happened the first time is kind of groundbreaking it might literally break the entire universe that just doesn't work. Why not just launch ships at people 1,000,000 times? Literally, launch them and then launch them back. And you can have it literally go through 1,000,000 times and it'll eventually just destroy enemy planets. I can't believe that.
think so. See those machines? They're powered by...
Yeah, that's a little nice moment. Suspenseful music. Melancholy music. Suspenseful music. And little notes. Wheel crack creaks. Oh, it's the bouncer. Oh wait, they skipped a guy.
Is there a problem?
No, they skipped a guy. There were like 5 people that I think 5 people that they came out with, and let me look. And they skipped the first guy. They didn't skip the leader. The leader was the first guy, but they came out with. Let's see it. Oh crap! I forgot which number I was at. Okay, 1. Okay, you see the guy in the hat. They don't do the guy in the hat. I don't think the guy in the hat is actually. Yeah, the guy in the hat's there, and then after they take away his bending, he's on the ground and he gets wrapped up, and right there, the guy who has his hat held down, like he's scared, he's shivering about like what's gonna be happening. Even the guys the purple, whatever his name is, who's gonna be taken in a moment. The gold chain, his face is a face that I probably have myself. Holy shit, they're gonna chop off my testicles. I don't want my chesticles to be chopped off. I want my testicles to be intact. Again, it's a reasonable fear to anybody. Even the guy that's next to Bolin. That's a wonderful facial expression. I don't know how I would deal with that. You're taking away an immutable characteristic that I was born with, that I've had my entire life, because you're pissed off at the world. It's like, wow. But they literally skipped one of them. Why? Like, I know it's random, but now because you took that guy right next to him, it looks like you're going to be going in order, and it looks like Bolin's going to be next. Which does, again, what about the guy with the hat? The fact that this is actually a really good line is because this is the same line, again, like holding Mako's arm, of saying, like, oh, we're a couple. The same thing that happened when she was in the pro bending arena in the first episode. Phenomenal. Again, phenomenal. That's something I wish that there was, again, change of episode 1 with Bolin coming in and be like, oh yeah, we're together. Change that aspect. This is amazing. Just, this alone is amazing. with Corky's. What the fuck do you have? Oh, okay, a wrench. Okay, I thought it was like a blade or I don't know. That'd be kind of extreme. Oh, actually a really good detail is that why would the bouncer be back here? Well, one thing that actually explains it to us is that he actually has a wrench on him, which means that there may have been an issue that happened when she twisted it, and then he noticed and immediately went back there, grabbing a wrench along the way, which again, it probably could have just been right then and there, which is a bit questionable of how quickly things went astray, or he was going back there and it was just a coincidence and bad timing that she went back there at the same time. Probably not just a little bit earlier. Yep, that'll work.
Thanks. This should be enough.
Yeah, that works for me. Okay, wait, where'd the guy with the hat go? If anything, it would add to the realism of having the guy with the hat be the one that was after the triple threat triad leader be going, and then it was the guy with the hat, then the guy in purple, then the guy that just hit the ground, the older guy, and then having Bolin still be tied and they go and save him rather than just at the last minute. I think that would be a little bit more realistic, but knowing realizing the danger of the situation that they have.
Hello? Come on, sir. I think there's been a big misunderstanding.
Whoosh. Air whooshing. Air whooshing. That's a bit funny. Isn't that like steam? Like, wait, what the fuck was that? No. Oh my gosh. Okay, the reason I outlashed is because it looked exactly like somebody was being steamrolled. Joke intended. Pun intended. But literally steamrolled of being pushed rather than like being engulfed in something. Does that not look like somebody's being ran over rather than just being steamrolled? or rather than just being engulfed in smoke, in steam. Okay, we probably need to see this at another setting. Is there not a slower setting? There's not a slower setting. Boo. Oh yeah, Sami's next. Oh, Sami. Why are you here? Why are you a character? Okay. Okay. Oh, I have to take a break here. Oh my gosh, no. What the oh, no. No. It looks like they're being literally swamped and being ran over, or the steam is having a physical effect and pushing everybody to the floor. I know that people are running away, but it really shouldn't be a moment where people are like, are they trampling themselves? Is it because they are running and it just happened to look that way? They cannot possibly be, again, just like with Mako knocking people out of the ring during their pro bending match, and then having the fire literally having that physical force, and the impact of fire hitting you is what sends you flying. That doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. It's just like this. Oh, there's steam in the air. Oh my gosh, we're all being trampled by other people because y'all are running over each other, or is it because the steam? And it looks like the steam. That's an unfortunate error. Oh my gosh, you even got to see it. I highly recommend going and watching that one scene over and over and over. But I think her arm with the lady with glasses, her arm was thrown up. Oh my gosh, steam pushed people to the ground. No, show. You can't just do things because you fucking want to. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, this show does things good. I used to say that they do some phenomenal things in the show. There are some phenomenal tidbits that you can clip and enjoy those moments. But holy shit, scene. The physics in this entire universe is fucked up. And then he just fades into the background. Apparently the steam doesn't have a physical ability on Amon. He's a waterbender. If that was the case, that would actually make a lot of sense of, again, if steam was able to push people to the ground.
Yes, Mako! I love you!
One, that was weird. His facial expressions were kind of weird, like, if those facial expressions would be much better for Korra, not his brother. And would absolutely be amazing if Korra was the one that was able to rescue, even though Korra was in the other room. But then the whole point, Mako could have like heated up the engines with fire bending, and then made the steam burst, and then having with all the steam in the air, having Korra come in, using the steam as an aid of having water in the air and being able to push and use it as a whip or something, maybe even freezing somebody in place with their feet, and saving Bolin, and then Bolin says, Korra, I love you, and tries to give her a kiss, but it's like, come on, and it cuts their relationship short real quick. But that physical reaction did not make any sense. His body language didn't make any sense of being like, oh, my brother.
Bolin, you alright? Yes, Mako!
Again, saying I love you, I would say, oh my gosh, I love you, thank you very much for being here, oh my gosh, I'd probably even cry of being in a situation like this. I'm like, thank you for coming and getting me.
I love you!
But he was gonna give him a kiss? Like, that, again, that exact, keep everything Bolin was doing, but instead have Mako and Korra switch and it would be perfect. It just looks weird. Again, good detail, having birds be fly off because of a disturbance. Again, those little details I appreciate. Oh, not the master equalist, but the lieutenant. I love this guy. Again, who fucking needs bending when you have technology? It's something they could have addressed, and by having legitimate lightning rods in your legitimate pocket lightning rods, something that you could put into a belt buckle, like over it or something. In the back of a belt buckle, in the back of your pants, in the back of your body, you can have lightning rods, which are very potent. Maybe not the same as lightning bending, but much more effective than not having it. So again, because of the rapid development of technology is why things are becoming more equal. But they don't address it, which is the sus that they could have done. Mako is able to lightning bend. Why is he not able to lightning bend here? And if this is the case as to he's not able to lightning bend because he's facing a stronger opponent because he has those lightning rods, then by default, lightning bending has become a very weak thing to do in combat. So bending is not really, it's something you can add, which was one thing when it came to like combats, is that the bending was an incredibly important part and aspect of it. But now if lightning bending is not an aspect that you could do in combat, wow, like, could Mako not lightning bend here? Why would he not be able to? If anything, it would be a phenomenal scene to see that Mako, knowing that he is a lightning bender, can bend, which again is not again, within the story of Korra, he shouldn't be able to. But we'll go with that he is, because in this show, in this fan fiction, he was able to. But him being a lightning bender, bending against somebody who has lightning rods, and the guy who has lightning rods beating the crap out of Mako. That would have been something that Mako could have overcome, that we could see that, wow, equalists are really, really serious, but at the same time, they're kind of contradictory at the same time. He needs the lightning bend. Bend your lightning, Mako. You just got beat. Oh, actually, what's a really good detail I haven't really noticed is that I think that the equalist here has a battery pack on his body, and that's why he looks the way he looks, so he can power the electric rods that he has. If that's the case, that's a phenomenal detail I have to praise them for. Woo! Yep, yeah, that looks like a power rod. There's almost no other reason for that. No, wait, it looks like the power... It doesn't look like the power rods are connected to the device that he has on his back. So here's the question. Did the writers simply give the equalists things on their bodies to make them look cool rather than having them functional? What the fuck does the thing on their body have anything to do with anything that they do? Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. No, it looks... No, those rods are independent. They're not physically attached. If they were physically attached to the device on their body, which looks like a battery, I'd be very, very impressed with the scene, but it looks like it's independent, and it just looks really cool. I don't get it. Hopefully they explain it at some other point. Why was Mako not lightning bending? That's a perfect line in this scene. There's no place for you in this world anymore because we can bend without you. What a great line. Again, the best case would be have more people become benders rather than just, like we have technology so we don't need bending. You don't need bending, but wouldn't you prefer to also have bending as well? Rather than be like, you could have both the lightning rods and the bending. What a case that would be in the world. Oh, in your face. Yeah, that's a kill shot. That's a kill shot, man. Wait, has Bolin even seen the polar bear dog before? Because if not, his reaction to, oh my gosh, what the hell is this beast? Would make so much more sense. I'll be like, oh my gosh, what's this thing coming after me? Oh, man. Throughout this entire series, from a criticism that I heard that I think is kind of accurate, is that Bolin is the overt, if not overplayed, comic relief. It's one of those situations that he's constantly being the joke, the butt of the joke, that when it comes time for a serious moment, he doesn't really have that weight to do it, or it's just that right there was a phenomenal moment that was naturally developed from the scene. That's a phenomenal moment where Bolin was the butt of the joke, but it was just how it unfurled, not because they needed the joke. It wasn't the punchline of like, I need to be on your back. No, he's bouncing up and down because they have very little time, running away from the battle. The other two were able to jump on the back, and then Bolin was out of the fight a little bit, getting up because the amount of time that it takes for somebody to wake up from being electrocuted. Bolin was after Mako. Actually, Mako got hit. Wait, no. Okay. No. No. Oh, take everything that I said back. Lightning, if anything, Mako should be a bit immune to it. A bit tolerant, not immune, a bit tolerant to lightning because he does it on hours on end. But at the same time, lightning is something that doesn't go through your body, but it instead is something that you bend outside of you. It is an energy that doesn't go through you, but instead is a place in which it is drawn from your fingertips. Again, whatever the physics are in this universe of bending and using physics that way. But you channel all the energy, and then of all the energy using your body, then you have one single point in which you channel all that energy out. But again, it's not lightning that's going through your body, so he shouldn't have any tolerance to it. Bolin, I don't get why Bolin was knocked out when longer than Mako, when Mako was hit twice with it, other than just being a lightning bender. But lightning bending doesn't make you a bit tolerant to the lightning itself when you are being hit by it, right? Only when you're redirecting it, but he doesn't know how to redirect lightning. Why don't they actually show the redirecting of lightning and having Zuko teach Korra how to redirect lightning in this entire series? I think that would be amazing. But it's its own universe. It's its own official... This is official fan fiction. But even then, official fan fiction, I am now being proven that it doesn't mean that it's good. I think, and I think there's at least an argument to be had that Bolin needed to be the butt of the joke, because I don't think that when you are bending lightning, it makes you tolerant to electricity coursing through your body. Mako shouldn't have been able to wake up so quickly both of those times, and then having Bolin immediately wake up after that. Okay? I don't think so. So, unless he's just a bit more battle-hardened than Bolin, but at the same time, I don't think that's the case. That makes you better, more immune to electricity coursing through your body. So, that means that they had Bolin knocked out a little bit longer so the other two could get on the back so they could make him the butt of the joke. Wow! That is a possibility, that they wanted him to be the butt of the joke rather than just having a natural course of actions. A natural course of actions, and then he just happened to be the butt of the joke. It seemed as though he needed to be the butt of the joke. Wow, that's interesting. Again, the amount of power that Amon has is that he doesn't have to raise his voice to the equalists. He just talks a little bit louder. He doesn't yell, he doesn't scream, he doesn't shout. He just, hey, guys, no need, don't worry about it. This is exactly what I want. Thank you guys for helping. Y'all are the best. Oh, Amon, we love you. I love you too, buddy. Let's go get some beer. Alrighty. Oh. A search party for what? A search party because you were not in your room? A search party because we knew of what has happened? A search party because why? Because that changes the context as to, were you worried about her? About were you taken? We heard that Amon was having a rally and we were keeping a close eye on it. Again, the assumption of going and looking for you. How in the hell did you know that she was by herself going with Mako? Kind of a contradiction there. She did not tell anybody other than going with Mako the both of them, without any other help, informing anybody else about their location of what they were going to be doing, and only when they escaped did they tell about what was happening. They were the only ones that had escaped to know the situation, unless there was a police report with the avatar having happened, or... Okay, no, let's play it like this. Okay, the only way that this could be explained is that because of the situation that happened with the steam rolling over people, that's such a weird thing to say. Literally, the steam rolled over people. It pushed them down. It doesn't work that way. I would think it doesn't. If anything, it'd just be hot steam, but it literally pushed them. Okay, anyways. It pushing the steam rolling the citizens, and the citizens going out and telling other people. Okay, so wait. Oh no. Okay, I think it's actually even worse than that. Let me fix my chair. Oh, I have 2 towels that I put in my chair because I usually sweat because it gets hot where I'm at and I don't use the air conditioning throughout the day, so I usually get real sweaty. But I save a ton of money on electricity bills. It's like I suffer, but I'm so in the right doing it. I think I'd like to think so. Maybe on Sundays I'll turn on the air. Excuse me. Okay, so if I have this correct, the citizens could be the one that possibly spread the message that there was an avatar. Not an avatar. That Amon was able to take people's bending away. Okay, and they were able to tell that, hey, there's an issue that's happening. And then when Tenzin found out that she could not find Korra, then that was the reason that he was worried and was going to go send out the White Lotus to go and find her. Why is she not... Should there be some type of backlash of going out there by yourself, having seen such a threat, but at the same time you don't blame them. You don't blame the person who's witnessed such a horrific event. But it's one of those things of like, well, you went out by yourself without any help and I could have helped you. If you were going to be doing something so dangerous and you did it by yourself, I'm sorry, but if there was something wrong that happened, it would be on you. You could have had help. We have Lin, the police chief. You could have gotten a few of them to go undercover to investigate. But you went by yourself. It's like, you live in the big world now, Korra. That's one thing that needs to be talked about with this. It's like, you could have had, I could have gotten Lin to have, or I could have talked to Lin about sending 2 undercover cops to go and see what's going on. Boom. Enough said. And again, the reality of like they can't do anything and just allowing them to I don't know. And then having the entire having both undercover cops, both them, Mako and Korra, coming with a plan to making the steam, rescuing Bolin, and getting the heck out of there. And then maybe one of the police officers, the undercover cops, is taken by Amon, and Amon takes her bending away, and they have to address this. And it's just one of those situations of like, whoa, they've even taken one of the cops, man, this is, whoo. But that might have actually caused even a bigger stir, which again, I'd love to see the consequences of that, but what would have been a more natural thing to have done? But Korra is going to get a pass on this, like, nothing bad happens. It's like, she's fearful. I know it's an incredibly horrific thing that she was literally born with 3 of the 4 elements. Literally, for her entire life, she has known how to bend all the elements, and having all 3 of them be taken away is taken away an identity. Literally taking away of, I'm a runner. I go for runs, just as an example. Somebody beats up and demolishes my kneecaps and my ankles and shins with a baseball bat for an hour, and I will never be able to walk, ever. Unless I get prosthetics, cut off my legs, have my legs be surgically removed and replace them with prosthetic legs. That's the only way I'm able to even be mobile without being in a chair. That would probably be a major hit into my life, regardless of the physical pain that I might actually go through in the moment. Like, I understand, like, this entire setup is phenomenal, what they did with Korra and being fearful of that. That's a great setup. But, they could have done this a bit differently, because I'm curious as to when did he learn that Korra was in danger, and what? And even Amon saying she's the perfect specimen, a perfect person to send out the message of what I can do or whatever it is that of what has been done today. She is. It's a great message, but there's also plenty of people who are going to give that message. So, oh no, that's a really good thing. Okay, I'm more curious than anything about when Tenzin figured out of when to go and like, oh, I was worried about you. It's like, what do you mean by that? When did you figure out? Who told you? What were the methods or something? It's like, I would love to see one scene where he's getting some information about from some of the Equalist citizens going to the place and finding that that Amon was actually able to take bending away, and then it's like, what? Where's Korra? And then like a question about like, okay, well that's an issue. Let me go find my family. Let me make certain that my entire family's safe. Where's Korra? People that I care about. Korra is not on the list. Korra's not there. Then he starts to go and find her, and then Korra shows up. And you're like, whoa, what happened? Were you there? Does Tenzin already know that?
Yes, but
Okay, so he doesn't know that. Okay, this is the way that I would want it to happen. It was an Equalist rally, but.
I was at an Equalist rally.
Now that's what you do, okay? Again, this is a phenomenal moment as a master of, I believe you. I might have my own doubts. I have to go and confirm the things that you just said, but guess what? I'm on your side on this. Okay? That's a phenomenal experience as a master to their pupil, to their student. That's phenomenal. I give Tenzin props on that. No bender is safe. I know that there's a concern for benders out there not being able to have their bending, but okay, here's a great question. What if there were no benders? Everybody'd be equal. I'm like, I would never want that. I want there to be more benders. But for a moment, you have had no concern for non-benders. I know that it's like the Equalists are going after, oh, no, I'm wrong. I am so wrong. If the Equalists are specifically non-benders that do not like benders haven't done anything, let's just go, no, that gets political. Let's not get political. I've usually gotten political in some of my other videos, but let me try not to. If the Equalists are non-benders that do not like benders having the ability to bend an element. So that means that the people that are at harm are any of the non-benders out there are not at harm, which means that there's specifically going to be attacks on benders in the upcoming months. That's a horrific thing that you have to deal with. And what about the PR? What about we are non-benders who disagree with, this is so Black Lives Matter. I can't not address that. This is so Black Lives Matter. It's like, I'm a black person who disagrees with Black Lives Matter. What about me? And then the Equalists go after those people who are non-benders, and it's like, shut up. It's that there's this issue that's happening. It's one question for all people out there is a question that was addressed to me, or at least a frame of when it comes to political parties. How socially acceptable is it to vote for Biden versus Trump? How more likely are you to be kicked, abused, pummeled, or shot for agreeing with Black Lives Matter or disagreeing with Black Lives Matter? How many examples have we had in the past year, 2 or 3 or 4 of these cases? Is it more socially acceptable to be a liberal, or is it more socially acceptable to be a conservative? Because if it's a conservative, isn't the trope of, well, you're just a natural bigot, racist, and homophobe because you think that gay marriage is a burden to society? Where it's like, I don't care what you personally do, get out of my life. I may have my own personal preference. Oh, you mean you don't accept? And it's like, whoa, okay, if we're going to go with tolerance, we have to define what that is. Oh, shut up. Okay, it's one of those, is it much more difficult to be a conservative or to be a liberal? Being an independent or going with the flow of the group? Which one's harder? It's by just that natural statement, by that natural framework, what would come about is that it's very much more difficult to be a conservative, more importantly, just being independent. Now, there's a much grander umbrella when it comes to being a conservative, because you could also be a libertarian, you could be an anarcho-capitalist, you could be somebody who's just like, I'm independent, I don't really care about one way or the other, and I only vote for the issue, and be like, okay, I might disagree with you on this, this, and this, but at the same time, it's okay. Like, we can have at least agreements or disagreements, but we don't really think each other to be evil. We think that maybe what we think is evil, but what we think is derived from reasoning, and those reasons can change. But it's not just you're inherently evil or bad of a person, and your intent is put into question. So, again, the Equalists are in this situation where they are going after benders, or will be going after benders specifically, because they hate an immutable characteristic, either them being black or white, if you want to make it political, of them being either of an immutable characteristic that they are able to do, and somebody was able, and they're going after them, so there would be now special attention and care and consideration for people who are benders, because there are people who are specifically planning to kill and destroy those people. Wow, man, this is much relevance with what's going on right now. There's a bunch of people who literally have no fucking right and reason to be harming or having any political power whatsoever. Black Lives Matter. Or like Black Lives Matter, Antifa, LGBTQ, because I'm at the stance that if you base a political or ideology on an immutable characteristic, if I disagree with that policy you want to put in place, then therefore I disagree or hate that immutable characteristic for which you are standing for. It's like, I hate feminism. You hate women? No, I hate feminists. I hate feminism of what it has become. You hate women? It's like, oh my gosh. It's not what I mean. That's not what I'm saying. That's, it's the same thing as, like, I disagree with Black Lives Matter. You hate black people? Yes, I hate black people. It's like, oh, I knew it. You hate black people. It's like, shut up, you fucktard. This is coming from the guy who didn't know what 100 divided by 4 was, or what 25 times 4 was. So, oh, man. I think we're at the very end. Somber music, melancholy, melancholy music, suspense music. What was this last one? Somber music. That was pretty funny. Michael Bryan, directed by something or another. Okay. Well, that's kind of interesting. Community.
People can find the good.
Wow. Shush your face. I don't care. Oh, Parks and Recreation. What's new, Scooby-Doo? That's funny. Okay. This is going to be kind of interesting. Wow, her face was weird. But that was it. That was Legend of Korra, Episode 3, The Revelation. So, with that being said, thank you very much for being a part of this. What do I normally say? What's going on? Okay, please post your comments, questions, and concerns right down below. I want to hear back from you. Please smash that like and subscribe button, because that would greatly help this channel out. And most importantly, go out and do wonders. Thank you very much for being a part of this, and I'll see you next time. Beep.